let me comment a little bit about this abortion candidate. You guys can call in 1-888-775-3773. That is because I am on JLP's network, 888-77-JESSE, Jesse. No I in Jesse, guys. No I in Jesse. Allie Phillips, that abortion candidate. Would you do me a favor, Hassan, and pull up yesterday's screenshots of the abortion, like a picture of Allie Phillips, just so I can talk a little bit about her. But I was talking about this story of this puff piece by the far-left Washington Compost, propagating the pro-abortion agenda in the face of these so-called conservative states who are banning abortion in most instances. Even according to the Washington Compost writer who wrote this article about Allie Phillips, 28-year-old mother. She was a single mother, and she got married, and then she was going to have another daughter. Interesting. And the daughter, didn't have a heartbeat or something. Or, there was issues with the daughter, problems with the brain and vital organs developing. And the doctor in her Tennessee area did not want to give her an abortion because the doctor, according to her story, right, this woman, if you believe her, the doctor didn't want to take the risk of getting prosecuted under these anti-abortion laws, these pro-life anti-abortion laws. Because both the doctor, in my opinion, both the doctor and the woman should be prosecuted for the unjust and undue, unnecessary killing of an unborn child, unless I suppose it's to save the life of the mother. Back in the olden days, women would die in giving birth sometimes, very often. And still they do sometimes, I guess. I think black women are more likely to something like that. And I don't know, sometimes they're even fit black women, not just fat or unhealthy black women. There was this track star gal who I think she died in her apartment. I don't understand all that stuff. I don't know. And maybe there's some issues with these laws. They're not perfect. But I gave you my conspiracy theory that these doctors are trying to be obstinate, maybe. Knowing human nature, maybe your evil human nature resents these laws or regulations that you disagree with, and so you dig your feet in and be like, I can't do this. When in reality, there is a solution that's lawful that you could do, but you just want to be difficult, and you want to just blame the Republicans for it. You know what I mean? So that was my conspiracy theory. But about this gal, she's running for office now, okay? And she's barely making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck, if I read this article correctly. I told you all about it yesterday. She almost does kind of look like a Hillary Clinton, by the way, a younger. Hillary Clinton was actually mildly attractive, I will have to, as a younger woman. But then she swallowed up all the fat and more from Bill Clinton, who used to be sort of fat. Now he's skinny and gaunt, and looks like death himself almost. And she's sort of blown up, or at least did for a while. But this woman has too red of lipstick, a touch heavy on the eyeshadow for my taste, and nice hair. She looks sort of also like a Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So I don't know if she's a normal white. Because Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I don't think she's a normal white. I think she's Jewish or something. Not Christian, I don't believe. A famous Democrat. But this one is trying to run for office in Tennessee. An abortion ban turned a grieving Allie Phillips into an activist and a candidate or something like that. And I showed you this clip of her playing. I'm tempted to just play this clip for you, because then you get a good picture of her. It's like a 2-minute long clip. You guys want to catch it? She's cussing. By cussing, I'm saying she said the P word. Ist pay and am day, which is the real curse. God send this to hell. These men. Let me show you. Do you have the clip handy that you could play it, Hassan, out in that yesterday folder? I want to play this for you and then tell you what Big Bump said about her. Too much lipstick, bad eyeshadow. Oh, yeah, and she kills babies. It's a Carver 531. Is it ready? Let's play this just to remind you, and then I'll tell you what Big Bump said, which is true. Here it is.
Let's do everything we can this session to make the story better and tell.
I cover red states. I'm based in Texas. And so I wanted to look at how candidates were talking about abortion, in particular women in red states. And I found that there's a number of female candidates who not only are sharing their abortion stories, but that's part of the reason why they're running.
We want bans off our bodies.
Yes.
We want bodily autonomy.
Yes.
And we want politicians to stay the hell out of our medical decisions.
Terrible.
Allie Phillips said what really motivated her was this struggle that she had to go through when she was diagnosed with fetal abnormalities. She had been trying to have another child. She was overjoyed when she got pregnant, but then an ultrasound showed that the
Look at her
fetus
husband.
had
That's her husband.
issues with the development of
Sorry.
really vital organs like the brain and the heart and the lungs.
This is the bunny rabbit my husband and I picked.
Cute
to
rabbit.
Hold Miley's.
She's a TikToker.
heartbeat, and here it is.
Because of the abortion ban in Tennessee, a trigger ban that took effect after Roe was overturned, she couldn't get an abortion in Tennessee. She had to go out of state, and the nearest clinic that had availability was in New York City.
I'm at the clinic right now,
Crying on TikTok.
and I did not expect to have this update. But they just did the sonogram, and Miley's heartbeat isn't there anymore.
One thing that really struck me when I went over to Allie Phillips' house was that the mantelpiece over her fireplace is just covered with tributes to the daughter she wasn't able to have. Miley Rose really is the center, not just of her campaign, but of her life. She doesn't want her to have existed in vain. She talks about wanting to find purpose in what happened to her.
Together have got to let these Republican men know that women are powerful, we're pissed, and we're coming.
Allie
Terrible.
Phillips told me she plans to be out more, door knocking, meeting with local groups, trying to not only share her abortion story, but also her views on other issues. It's going to be interesting to see if Phillips can connect with those moderate, independent, right-leaning voters, particularly women, and whether her district is going to be a bellwether for the state.
In that house, and let's make some damn change in 20.
Terrible. She said H-E double toothpicks. She said the P word, which I said it yesterday. And she said darn, except she didn't say darn. But she's like young millennial or maybe even Zoomer. I don't know if Zoomers are 28 already. I don't think so. So we're doing the exact same story as yesterday? Question mark, asks Charlie Church. No, I don't think so. Hopefully not. Charlie Church. Bans off our bodies. We want bodily autonomy. She's just saying the same silly, empty, cliche, mindless NPC, which is dehumanizing. She's a player character, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming I sort of assume without evidence that all people are player characters. They're not non-player characters. They're not just, but they are brainwashed and not, I don't believe that there's such a thing as thinking for yourself. So she sounds the same as all her cult of pro-abortion people. Wasn't it interesting hearing that reporter say she doesn't want her, meaning the dead baby, to have existed in vain? Almost crying. Let these men know we're powerful, we're P-worded, angry, and we're coming, all trying to intimidate the men. The men are more intimidating when you're pretty. Just be pretty. Oh no, they get sometimes intimidated when you get all emotional and angry and messy, too. That was Molly Hennessy-Fisk, the Washington Compost so-called reporter / propagandist, journalist, scum of the earth. I cover red states. Oh, really? Are you a red woman? Red as in communist, not even a rhino. I'm confused. Did she abort that baby? It doesn't clearly state that. Good question, Grandpa_Daryl on DLive. She looks stressed, says Terry Strange. Yeah. If she's 29, I'm 18. Oh, come on, Kaya. Yeah, she's 28, 29 years old. I thought these women were in their 40s. No, I mean, she looks like she's 28. You guys just don't know white people. I think this is you guys are falling into this anti-white narrative that whites look old at a younger age than blacks. That whole black don't crack trope. Anti-white trope. I don't know, maybe there's truth to it. The baby died in the womb, says Come On Man. I think that's correct, Come On Man. And then they had to extract her. But I don't know if the baby had lost the heartbeat until she got to the out of state, because you had to go out of state to get the abortion, according to her and maybe her doctor. According to her, we're basing it on the word of, I guess, the Washington Post so-called reporter, who seems a bit sloppy and communist and makes euphemisms that aren't the whole truth. They're technically true, I suppose you could say. Stuff like, these abortion bans are even when the case of the life of the mother is threatened. And I made the point that the threatening of the life of the mother is a very loosey-goosey statement, because I'm taking my life into my hands if I step outside of the door. I'm taking my life in my hands sitting here. What if there's an earthquake? Whoosh. Not that an earthquake has ever toppled this building, but yeah, if the heartbeat stops, she should be able to get the same surgery done in her home state of Tennessee, says Esoteric. Yeah. I'm shaking my head. I don't think that's entirely an honest presentation, right? But anyway, let me tell you the point of me bringing this up again. Big Bump stated about her ego. With that ego on that woman, she's going to destroy the baby anyway. And maybe that's what happened. It's quite possible. You know how women are not supposed to be all stressed? With an ego-filled mother like that, the baby doesn't stand a chance. That's a fact. I pity the surviving child who was not, whatever you call it, a miscarriage. I guess that's considered a miscarriage, right? I don't pity the surviving child, but you understand if that surviving child, the little girl, I have a picture of the little girl from yesterday in the folder there. Little girl who was going to be a big sister, born out of wedlock, by the way, according to the Washington Compost. I guess they've taken the shame out of that, so they weren't too ashamed to mention that. Shameless, these women. This gal, this young lady, little princess, will have to deal with a pro-abortion mother who's turned even worse of an activist than before. Sounds like she was already liberal. Beta husband, says Terry Strange. Masculine mom, baby self-aborted. Could be. It could be in that, these people are stressed, living paycheck to paycheck, and it's partly their fault, and it's maybe not entirely their fault. In better times, like under Trump, it was people who had an easier time making a good living, right? So I get that, right? These younger millennials and Zoomers have a tough time buying homes and stuff, making it on just a single income. But you can do it. You can do it. What, are they living too close to the city that stuff is expensive? They live in Tennessee. But the children of mothers who commit abortions, which I guess she's promoting abortion, are children who are raised by evil, heartless mothers. Hake, you talked about this yesterday. WT blank, says Jupiter. I'm talking about her ego. I'm talking about a point that Big Bump said. We shall meet July 2023. No, maybe you'll meet in heaven. If you get there. What a mess. It reminds me, okay, I'm done with that. It's a great point. It reminds me of these people with their egos and their suffering. They suffer something and and then all of a sudden they get on a mission to try to they think that they've suffered something. And so in their minds, they're suffering. And so they get on a mission to save other people from their suffering. And it's all this mama spirit. In your sick, twisted, egotistical, pride-filled, accusatory, sometimes, self-righteous, purposeless, wandering, groping about in the dark blindly mind, you think you're doing something with your life. Like, I like Michael J. Fox in the Back to the Future movies, and he was also on a TV show, I think, and he was also Teen Wolf or something, but which I didn't see because I was a kid. But he got Parkinson's disease. I don't envy him for that. And he became this anti-Parkinson's disease awareness guy and promoting, raising money to help people with Parkinson's disease. That's not selfless. He only started doing that because he got it. Now all of a sudden he's aware of Parkinson's and he wants everybody else to be aware of Parkinson's. And it may not even help him, but it might. But I don't know if he pretends that it's not just because he got it. I don't know if he pretends like he's helping people or if he's helping himself or helping to make himself feel better. Which, okay, I don't hold that against him, but it's so plainly you're doing it because you got it. Or these women who get R-worded, aped, and then they do this Me Too thing. And they're like, I want to save other people from this evil man, other gals from getting involved with this evil man who did this to me. That's dumb. That's a pretense. That's devilish. And these do-gooders and all that stuff. Remember that Cori Bush woman who was homeless and then she became a pro-homeless activist? Cori Bush, a black female congressman, member of the squad. Ridiculous. And then she slept on the steps, all homeless bum. Single mother, by the way. How are these people qualified to become congressmen? Hey, please no more. What do you mean? No more what? It's all egotistical, misguided. I don't want the baby to have existed in vain, says this woman who had a miscarriage, and so she's on this somehow pro-abortion thing. So now in the name of Miley or whatever the child's name was going to be, this child will be known for her mother being for killing the babies in the womb and hating men. That's, yeah, now she has I rather she existed in vain in your mind. Like, who are you to say, oh, the baby existed in vain? You go on a mission for Satan. That's not a godly mission. she just let it be, and in her mind don't listen to Satan telling her it was in vain, that this baby died in vain, then she would come out better, not bitter. Now she's bitter and evil. And don't say this word too much, kids, but stupid. Shout out to the stupid people. We are all stupid.